We are in Denver at the Cattle Industry Conference, their summer meeting, joined now by Colin Woodall, Vice President of Governmental Affairs for the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. And Colin, as we look at this year, it's kind of amazing. We have a number of things to talk about, but here we are in the middle of the year with an agenda just almost as full as it was when we started the year.
Yeah, it really is. And even though Congress has been really good about getting a lot of things passed, matter of fact, it's been the most productive Congress we have seen in well over a decade, there's still a lot of things that have to be done, and they're running out of time. Here we are halfway through July. They're going to go home for 6 weeks in August and early September, and when they get back, there's not a whole lot of time in the fall before really the entire nation in Washington, D.C. focuses on this presidential election. So time's running out.
We've got a lot of issues to talk about, so let's maybe just go through them, not necessarily in order of priority, because they're all important. There's an issue that is kind of getting lost in all this, and that is what to do with the situation in Brazil and Argentina, with the possibility of that beef coming in. That is, I think a lot of people in cattle country are still kind of scratching their head on that.
Yeah, there's still a lot of concern there because both of those rules, the rule to allow the importation of beef from Brazil and the rule for Argentina, have gone final. And so if we don't get something done, they will be implemented in early September. Now, the good thing is we have bipartisan support in Congress, both Democrats and Republicans, who have stepped up to help us. And the best opportunity we have is to defund any ability for USDA to implement those rules. And that's what we're working on right now. Matter of fact, the Senate Ag Committee just acted to put language in their agriculture appropriations bill that would do that, and the House has done the same. So we're excited about the prospect of keeping that product out. The bottom line has been very simple. We just need USDA to go through the process that's appropriate. So they need to go back down there, do a true quantitative risk assessment so we know what the risks are, and more importantly, do site visits. They have to see firsthand what's going on and then give reports back to us as stakeholders.
All right, another issue, obviously, like last time you and I talked, we were just about ready to take those votes on the Trade Promotion Authority and moving forward with trade, and it looks like at least we've taken some more steps forward there.
We have. So Trade Promotion Authority, TPA, has passed, but it was a circus to get it passed. You know, both bodies ended up passing it twice because of the process that was associated with it, but it's done. The president has signed it, and that's a good thing. So that means that not only President Obama, but the next president is going to have the ability to continue to help us with trade deals. That was also the spark that we needed to really see a drive to finish the Trans-Pacific Partnership, TPP. So that's where we're headed right now, getting that done. Our hope is that happens by the end of summer, early fall, and that sets up a vote by our Congress probably around the new year. So it would be exciting to have that done and have some additional access into places like Japan.
Another thing, what's happened recently with the World Trade Organization and the ruling against the U.S. Canada's come out and said retaliation is coming. Mexico said the same thing, but the Canada thing is really a huge dollar amount, have a big impact. Are we seeing movement in Congress for a possible repeal, or are we still kind of playing things out? I saw something recently where the Senate is still trying to kind of work something out to keep both sides somewhat happy. Is that maybe a decent explanation of where we are, at least right now, the middle of July?
The bottom line, again, is the fact that retaliation is coming. There's no arguing that point anymore. And I think that has helped us get the Senate to this position where they're at least talking. Here, the House acted very decisively. They voted 300 to 131 to repeal COOL. That was a strong bipartisan vote, something that we were very happy with. Now the Senate has to act. The problem is we've got a lot of senators who have some longtime connections to COOL, that have been proponents of COOL for many, many years, and they're having a hard time figuring out how they support something else that's a little bit different that would keep us from getting retaliated against. So that really is the discussion. How do we massage this so that way those who have been supporters of COOL in the past can at least show that they had an impact on finding a solution? And that's the challenge. We're not there yet. We are having conversations, but we still have some work to do.
Here we are, middle of the year. We have seen some movement with some of the appropriations bills. Typically, we kind of wait till the last day, so Ag has already kind of at least started the process through the House. Any surprises there? Anything that you would have liked to have seen happen as at least through this first stopping point or the first step in the process?
Really the biggest surprise that we had in this entire process was the fact that the amendment to try to ban horse slaughter, which has been in just about every appropriations bill we've had over the past 6-7 years, it failed. It was not successful in moving forward. So we see that as a great victory. This has been a very controversial issue, even within agricultural circles. But the one thing that we know, without the ability to process horses, we have seen cases of abandonment and abuse go up. That is a known fact. So I think a lot of folks are finally understanding that, and so that, I think, was a big tool in helping us stop this amendment. And outside of that, we were very happy with the way both the House and Senate bills have been developed.
Are we getting better on the Hill as far as, I know one of the things at convention and other things was to try to work on reducing some of the strenuous regulations, and we talk about some of the small victories doing with the Environmental or Endangered Species Act and some other things. So are you pleased and NCBA kind of pleased with where things are going as far as maybe not over-regulating?
We're making progress. So we're not pleased with where we're at right now, but we are moving the ball forward, which is good, which is something we haven't been able to do in previous Congresses. So that at least gives us some optimism that whether it's Waters of the United States at EPA, whether it's Endangered Species Act, whether it's the dietary guidelines, that we're going to be able to get some of these corralled and not have the impact on the producers that we expected.
Speaking of that, let's talk briefly about the dietary guidelines. You talk about a lot of different issues for policy, but that's one that has really kind of taken a lot of agriculture to be deeply involved this year, especially with some of the things they came out with sustainability. Kind of give us an update on how that is progressing.
This has been a broad-based coalition of groups, everywhere from the grocery manufacturers to those of us on the production side, working to try to make sure that the final set of guidelines that we expect to come out later this year still have beef in the center of the plate and still recognize beef as a part of a healthy dietary pattern. And we are making progress there. We have language in the appropriations bills that would really focus Congress back on looking at nutritional value and take them off of this sideline view of environment sustainability. That has nothing to do with nutritional guidelines, but yet it was brought in this time around. So this language, I think, is going to take that away and get both the Department of Health and Human Services and USDA focused again on the true nutritional value, which is this program or process has always been about.
All right, Colin, always great to catch up. Seems like we could talk almost forever because of all the different issues, so thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ken.
Colin Woodall, who is Vice President of Legislative Affairs for the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, has joined us from Denver. I'm Ken Rogers.